Most people think RC gets crazy when a car goes fast or a plane flies upside down. That is not even close. This list is about machines that break the normal rules of the hobby. A dump truck that works like a real job site hauler. A tank that smokes, recoils, and sounds like steel on steel. A snow machine that actually grooms snow. And an aircraft that lifts off like a helicopter, then flies away like a plane. These are the RC builds that stop looking like toys and start looking like impossible engineering experiments. So forget everything you think RC is supposed to be, because the machines in this countdown push realism, creativity, and pure obsession way past the point of normal. Number 10. RC Aircraft Nemo. We are not starting with the heaviest machine or the loudest machine. We are starting with one of the strangest. The RC Aircraft Nemo looks like someone mixed a tropical fish, a UFO, and an experimental aircraft into one body, then somehow made it fly properly. That alone makes it unusual. But what really earns it a place here is that the weird shape is not just for looks. It changes the way the aircraft behaves in the air. Built by European hobbyists and shown at design festivals and experimental flying events, Nemo belongs to the concept RC airplane category. It is made for people who want to challenge normal aerodynamics instead of repeating them. The body uses high-density extruded foam, which keeps it light and strong, while metallic paint gives it that futuristic finish. With an oval fuselage, short tail, and no normal cockpit shape, it looks unlike anything else at the field. Its propulsion system uses two embedded brushless motors, one inside each wing, powered by a 4S battery. The real magic is thrust vectoring. By redirecting airflow, Nemo can change direction in ways normal planes cannot. It can pull sharp turns, strange pivots, and even moments that look close to hovering. Hidden rudders under the body help control the aircraft without ruining the smooth shape. In flight, the whole machine feels wrong in the best possible way. It whistles with a high-pitched sound, turns with strange confidence, and makes even experienced RC pilots stop and stare. On the ground, it looks like art. In the sky, it looks like a prototype from another planet. That is why it shows up in artistic demos, alternative design competitions, tech videos, and experimental showcases. It is rare, and that makes it even more memorable. When one appears, nobody talks over it. Everybody watches. Number 9. Super Frog T-14R Panther. From a flying concept, we go straight to a machine that feels like a tiny industrial worker. The Super Frog T-14R Panther is the kind of RC that tricks people at first. They see a dump truck body and think they already understand it. Then the bed lifts with load inside, the suspension works, the chassis stays composed, and suddenly it feels less like a model and more like a scaled transport machine. Built by Superfrog, a Chinese company known for industrial 1/14 scale vehicles, the Panther belongs to the scale construction transport category. It is designed for hauling simulation in controlled environments, usually working beside excavators, loaders, and tractors in full miniature job site setups. Its power comes from a high-torque brushless motor running on either 3S or 4S battery power, depending on the version. That gives it the strength to move sand, dirt, rocks, and other real load without the truck feeling like it is just struggling through a show run. Runtime can reach around an hour in steady use, which is a big deal for long events and larger RC job site builds. Traction goes through the rear wheels, giving the Panther good pulling force when the bed is full. The gear system is durable, and the proportional speed controller makes movement smoother and more realistic. That matters because the appeal here is not speed. It is the feeling of operating a tiny hauler that behaves like the real thing. The chassis uses metal alloy with internal reinforcements, while the suspension combines leaf springs with oil-filled shocks to keep the truck stable under load. The strong frame makes climbing, hauling, and dumping feel convincing instead of theatrical. Then there is the visual side. Headlights, mirrors, ladders, seats, steering wheel, instrument panel, and the slow movement of the lifting bed all push the realism further. Even the dry mechanical sound adds to the illusion. In mini-city builds and model job site events, this truck is a favorite because it brings the transport side of the work to life. It does not just look good parked, it earns its place once the load starts moving. Number 8. RC Gaz 71. Now the mood changes completely. The RC Gaz 71 feels like cold weather, hard ground, and military history packed into one tracked machine. It is based on the Soviet transport vehicle, designed to cross swamps, snow, and rough terrain, and even in RC form, it keeps that same stubborn, no-nonsense personality. This model fits into the military-scale crawler category and is usually built or customized by hobbyists in Russia and by realism-focused military RC communities. It mixes handcrafted engineering with historical identity in a way very few tracked RCs manage. Instead of chasing speed, the Gaz 71 uses a brushed electric motor focused on torque and durability. Powered by a 4S battery, it has enough force to crawl through mud, climb slopes, cross puddles, and keep moving through ugly terrain where faster RCs usually lose traction. Runtime usually falls between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on load and surface. Its drivetrain is full-time and pushes metal-reinforced rubber tracks that grip well in places where wheeled RCs would just dig themselves deeper. The transmission is simplified and tough, with no differential, helping keep torque delivery steady and predictable all the time. The chassis is reinforced aluminum, while the body may be ABS or metal depending on the builder. Either way, it looks serious. Camo paint, working headlights, opening doors, and sometimes fully detailed interiors give it a scale presence that feels more military vehicle than hobby crawler. Sound modules can even reproduce engine effects, which makes the machine feel more alive. People use this RC in extreme trail runs, scale crawler events, military simulations, and history-themed builds. And the best part is that it wins people over without ever looking fast. It wins them over by going where other RCs sink, slide, or stop. That kind of stubborn capability gives it a personality all its own. 7. LXWRC Skid Steer. The LXWRC Skid Steer is one of those RCs that changes your opinion the second it starts working. Standing still, it looks like a compact loader in miniature. Moving, it feels like actual construction equipment. That difference is exactly why this machine has become such a favorite with scale construction fans. Built by LXWRC, a Chinese company specializing in construction replicas, this model belongs to the functional construction category. It is designed to simulate excavation, loading, and earth-moving work with realistic turning, realistic weight, and realistic control feel. A brushless electric motor provides the power, fed by a 3S lithium polymer battery. That setup gives the skid steer enough strength to push sand, small rocks, and real loose material, with runtime reaching close to 40 minutes depending on how demanding the task is. That makes it more than a short demo machine. The drivetrain powers both tracks and uses differential-style control to mimic the turning behavior of a real skid steer. It can spin in place, pivot sharply, or move one track differently from the other for very tight maneuvering. That is what makes operating it feel immersive. You are not simply steering it. You are working it. Its chassis combines steel and aluminum, giving the machine rigidity, realistic mass, and a low center of gravity that matters during pushing and digging tasks. The suspension is basic but tough, and the reinforced tracks maintain traction across loose terrain. Visually, it is easy to like. Industrial yellow paint, hydraulic-style working arms, crisp electric sound, and immediate response make it feel like a scaled-down loader instead of a toy pretending to be one. That is why owners use it in construction dioramas, coordinated model job sites, and realism events. Some even add lights and sound systems. The most extreme builders create full backyard mini-construction zones, where loaders, excavators, and trucks all work together. In that setting, the skid steer feels less like a single RC and more like one working part of a tiny industrial system. Number 6. RC B17. This is where unusual stops, meaning weird shape or rare function, and starts, meaning scale ambition, on a ridiculous level. The RC B17 is based on the legendary Flying Fortress bomber from World War II. That already gives it emotional weight. But when you see one in giant scale with 4 working engines, retractable gear, realistic sound, and a wingspan so wide it takes multiple people to handle it, the effect is something else. This aircraft lives in the ultra-scale warbird category. Some versions come from specialist brands, while others are handcrafted by expert builders who want the closest possible recreation of the real bomber. Many large examples stretch past 4 meters in wingspan, and weigh more than 66 pounds, which is enormous by normal RC airplane standards. Each engine is usually a low RPM, high-torque brushless unit turning multi-blade propellers. Depending on the setup, every engine may run on its own 6S or 8S battery pack. Combined power can pass 8,000 watts, or roughly equal to 10 horsepower, giving the aircraft enough authority to move like a serious multi-engine machine instead of a fragile giant model. The structure is commonly reinforced balsa with carbon fiber, finished in covering film. The landing gear may use electric or pneumatic actuators, and the flight controls include rudder, elevator, ailerons, and functional flaps. Every one of those systems matters, because flying a giant B-17 is not simple. Weight, wind, runway space, and distance all have to be respected, but when it is done right, it is unforgettable. The sound of 4 synchronized engines can be so convincing that people nearby think something full-size is overhead. That is why the B-17 dominates air shows, historic RC festivals, and warbird demonstrations. Some builders even go as far as dropping foam bombs for reenactment-style flights. A lot of RC aircraft impress through performance. The B-17 impresses through presence. It carries history into the sky, and that makes it unforgettable. Number 5. Pisten Bully 600 RC. Most RCs are built to survive weather. The Pisten Bully 600 RC is built to work with it. This machine is a scaled version of the famous snow groomer seen on ski slopes, and unlike many unusual RCs, its magic is not just visual. It actually reshapes snow. That instantly puts it in a rare class of model, because very few RCs are designed for a terrain this specific and then perform a real task on it. Made by European builders specializing in snowcats, the Pisten Bully belongs to the specialized snow vehicle category. Its brushless motor is tuned for high torque and low RPM, because snowy surfaces reward steady force, not wild speed. Depending on the version, it runs on 4S or 6S battery power, which gives it solid runtime and dependable performance even in freezing conditions. The tracks are wide, rubberized, and built for grip. Independent drive lets the machine make tight turns and controlled curves even on ice, while the no-differential layout helps maintain constant torque when the surface gets slippery. Maintenance is simplified through a modular design that gives quick access to the motor and gears. The chassis is reinforced aluminum with coatings to resist snow and moisture, and the semi-rigid suspension is meant to imitate how a real snowcat behaves over uneven frozen ground. Then comes the best part: the front blade and rear groomer. Both are functional, letting the machine push, shape, and smooth real snow. Visually, it is stunning. Detailed cab, acrylic windows, simulated wipers, headlights, rear lights, and even warning sounds all make it feel like a real alpine service vehicle. In motion, it glides with a low electric whine and the soft track noise of packed snow under pressure. This RC appears on miniature ski slopes, in winter rescue simulations, and at snow RC meetups in places like Germany and Switzerland. What makes it special is simple. It is one of the few RCs that does not just survive a strange environment. It is completely defined by it. Number 4. RC Ripsaw. If one RC on this list looks ready for a movie chase scene, it is the Ripsaw. The real Ripsaw is already famous for its futuristic military image, its extreme off-road ability, and its use in action-heavy media. The RC version takes that same attitude and packs it into a tracked machine built for speed, aggression, and spectacle. This model belongs to the military-style bashing category and is usually built by independent manufacturers or custom hobbyists. It is not trying to be subtle. It is trying to feel dangerous. Most versions use high RPM brushless motors in the 2,000 to 3,000 kilowatt range, powered by 6S or 8S batteries. That gives the Ripsaw outrageous power for a tracked RC. Output can exceed 4,000 watts, or roughly equal to 5 horsepower, which is enough to create acceleration that surprises almost everyone the first time they see it run. Each track is powered independently, so the vehicle can spin in place, attack obstacles hard, and keep moving through mud, sand, gravel, grass, and rough trails with brute force confidence. There is no differential, which makes the turning style even more aggressive. The chassis is usually aluminum or carbon fiber with heavy reinforcements, while the suspension uses long-travel oil-filled shocks and an impact-absorbing structure. That helps it survive jumps, collisions, and high-speed off-road hits, with much less drama than you would expect. Visually, it owns the scene. Matte black body panels, red LED lighting, armored styling, and simulated engine sound make it feel cinematic before it even reaches full speed. Some builds include FPV systems, letting the operator drive from a first-person view like a mini armored pursuit vehicle. That is why the Ripsaw has become a star in high-production YouTube videos, off-road challenge content, and extreme bashing footage. It is not elegant, and it does not need to be. The whole point is raw, tracked violence with style. Number 3. RC Dozer Cat. The RC Dozer Cat is one of the clearest examples of an RC model becoming actual miniature heavy equipment. Based on Caterpillar-style track dozers, these models are often built in full metal and use real hydraulic systems. That changes the whole feeling immediately. The blade does not move like a decorative attachment. It moves with the slow, deliberate authority of a real working machine. Usually produced by brands like Huina and other detailed builders, the Dozer Cat lives in the functional construction RC category. It is meant for realistic job site simulation, and that is exactly how serious owners use it. Its power system combines brushless electric motors with a dedicated pump that drives the hydraulic system. Running on 6S batteries, it has enough strength to move dirt, gravel, sand, and other real material. Depending on the version, it may weigh more than 30 pounds, which gives it the kind of mass needed for believable blade work. The tracks are metal, independently powered, and capable of zero-radius turns. Hydraulic control of the blade is highly precise, letting the operator level surfaces, push piles, and shape terrain with real accuracy. The rigid suspension matches the real dozer style, while the steel chassis and full cast metal body give the machine a dense, brutally industrial feel. Visually, it looks fantastic. Caterpillar yellow paint, rivet details, simulated engine sounds, and slow, purposeful movements make videos of it look almost like full-size equipment footage until you notice the scale. That is why these machines appear in backyard construction sites, technical hobby expos, commercials, and realism displays. Number 6. When the blade drops and the tracks bite. This is where illusion is so strong, meaning that it stops feeling like RC entertainment and starts scale ambition like scaled down ridiculous level. Number 2. RC-B-17 Leopard 2 tank is based on the legendary flying fortress bomber almost feels too small. That already gives it emotional weight. Leopard 2 tank is not just another giant scale with 4 working engines. It is a giant mechanical retractable gear. It realistic sound, recoils, and a wingspan so wide it takes multiple people to handle it. Rotates its turret. The effect is something raises and lowers the gun. This aircraft lives in the ultra-scale warbird category. Ridiculous. Some versions come from specialist brands, while others are handcrafted by the real German Leopard 2 who want the closest possible recreation such as the real bomber. Or many large examples stretch past 4 meters. They belong to the military-scale RC world, but at the extreme end which is enormous by normal total realism standards. Instead of simple each engine is usually a low RPM, brushless electric motors, brushless one for each track, multi-blade running on 6S depending on the setup. Battery systems. Every engine may run on its own 6S or 330 pounds of steel and combined power can pass 8,000 watts. That is absurd. Or roughly equal to 10 horsepower, the rough equivalent of giving the aircraft enough authority to move like a serious moving machine that feels more like a rolling sculpture than a toy. The structure is commonly controls each track independently, fiber, allowing finished and turns and obstacle climbing. The landing gear may use electric or pneumatic heavy-duty metal gearboxes handle the controls include and the mechanical drivetrain noise can sound shockingly close to the real tank. Suspension is modeled after torsion bar tank because systems, flying a giant giving realistic travel and damping instead of simple weight, wind, then there are the runway details, space, hand-painted camouflage, all have to be smoke synchronized with firing. But when it is done right, cannon recoil, it is unforgettable. Rotating turret, the sound of 4 synchronized engines can be so convincing antennas, that people nearby think something full-size is overhead. The full experience is audio. That is why the B-17 and mechanical at air shows. These models often appear in RC battle simulation demonstrations, museum-like. Some builders even go as far as dropping foam tanks register hits through style flights. Some lot of RC aircraft $20,000 That tells you everything about the level of craftsmanship involved. It carries history. The Leopard does not just impress, and that makes it unforgettable. It intimidates. Number 1. RC VTOL. The number 1 position has to go to the RC VTOL because nothing else on this list bends reality this hard while still being completely real. Watching one of these machines lift off vertically, hover in place, rotate its nacelles, transition into forward flight, and then tear through the air like a normal airplane feels wrong the first time you see it. Then later, it slows down, rotates back, and lands like a helicopter. That sequence alone is enough to make it the most stunning machine here. The most famous RC VTOL designs are inspired by the V-22 Osprey, using 2 side-mounted rotors that rotate between helicopter mode and airplane mode. This places them in the experimental VTOL aviation category, where the goal is to combine vertical lift with forward speed and range. Its power system uses 2 high-precision brushless motors, usually on 6S battery power, supported by gyro stabilization and smart flight firmware. That support is essential because the hardest part of VTOL flying is not takeoff or landing alone. It is the transition between vertical and horizontal flight. Without precise control and tuning, that phase can go wrong fast. The aircraft can take off from a standstill, rotate the nacelles forward, and pass speeds above 100 kilometers per hour. The sound is unforgettable, part turbine-like whistle, part mechanical rotation noise from the moving rotor system. Most fuselages use carbon fiber combined with reinforced foam sections to keep the structure light while still strong enough for the stresses of transition flight. Flying one well takes genuine experience. Multi-channel radios, careful setup, good firmware, and a pilot who understands the machine all matter. But when it works, it looks like pure magic. That is why VTOL Aircraft aircraft appear in tech demos, academic research, advanced air shows, and videos that make even veteran hobbyists pause. And the wildest part is that some projects use onboard AI to help stabilize the aircraft in real time, acting almost like a virtual co-pilot. That one detail tells you exactly how far RC has moved beyond simple hobby flying. It is the future, and somehow people are already holding it in their hands. After a list like this, one thing becomes impossible to deny. RC is not a small corner hobby built around a few cars and planes. It is a giant playground for engineers, history fans, artists, builders, pilots, and people who are obsessed with making the impossible work at a smaller scale. We just went from tank recoil and hydraulic blades to snow grooming, warbird aviation, concept aircraft, and futuristic tilt-rotor flight. That is why this hobby never really runs out of surprises. One builder wants realism so perfect it feels historical. Another wants raw mechanical power. Another wants to invent something nobody has seen before. And somehow, all of that still counts as RC. And that is the part casual viewers never expect. Behind every one of these builds is somebody chasing detail, testing systems, rebuilding parts, and solving problems until a machine that sounds impossible finally works. That obsession is what turns RC from a pastime into something much bigger. Now I want your answer. Which machine surprised you the most? Would you rather run the Leopard, fly the VTOL, operate the Dozer, or watch the B-17 climb into the sky? If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you do not miss the next insane machine we bring to the channel.